worshiping the one true God. For those that don't have a book, your lesson is found in Genesis 11, 1 through 9. Okay? Got it? Just in case y'all didn't, I already prayed, so I don't think y'all didn't pray because I always pray. All right. Worship the one true God. Not a whole lot of other gods, but one God. The true and living God. It said, worshiping the one true God. Now we know there's many gods, but this subject this morning says the one true God. This is the God we're supposed to worship. This is the God we're supposed to praise. That one true God. We're living in the day now. People are worshiping in all kinds of gods and making gods out of all kinds of things. But we are talking about this true God this morning. And we're going to go, and this is an awesome lesson. Pray that you read it. We're going to talk about the Tower of Babel. All right, we're going to start in verse 11. And the whole earth was a one language and a one speech. And listen what it said. One language, one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, and they found plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelled there. And they said one to another, go to let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had bricks, and I just want to take it like God give it to me. Okay? This lesson is talking about worshiping God. It's also talking about obedience. Okay? It's talking about obedience and doing it like God said do it. Now God, remember when they was on the ark, they got off the ark, and God gave them a command. He told them to be fruitful and multiply. That's what he told them. That's what my Bible said. He told them to be fruitful and multiply. But they had another mind. And they wanted to do it their way. Not God's way, but their way. And if you get in the lesson, begin to talk about, let us make. Trying to copy down behind Jesus. No. He already gave them the orders. When they got off that ark, in the water and everything, everything that dried up, he told them, he said, I want you to be fruitful and multiply. But they wanted to do it their way. So what did they want to do? They wanted to build like a tower. Real tall, big. And remember that it was on one line. They only had one language, so everybody could understand everybody. One language. And it said, well, God had already told them what to do, but you know what they did? They all went together and did it not God's way, but their way. All leaders are not good leaders. I'm going to tell you just like it is. It looked like after he had gave the orders, it looked like somebody should have stood up and said, well, that ain't what God told us to do. He didn't tell us to do that. He told us to be fruitful and multiply. He didn't tell us to build a tower. But they ran right along with the program. They got the moor and everything. They got the spot where they was going to build a tower. Huh? They conversated. Like, okay, come on, let us make a tower. And we're gonna try to reach heaven. I mean, they had their plan. They had their own separate blueprint. They were gonna do it their way. Over here, we can't do it our way. We must do it God's way. We must learn how to follow the orders that God has given us. Not just me, all of us that want to make heaven. God already gave us the blueprint. God already gave us the orders. God already told us what he wants us to do. But look what they did. And if you get in this lesson and begin to talk about this pride. Oh, yeah. Didn't listen to God. I want to do it my way. See, God's way was the right way, but their mind wasn't doing what God told them to do. And this is what we got to be careful at. And why was they building this tower? They wasn't really building it for God. They wanted to be seen. You know how sometimes people just want to be seen? That's a form of pride. Oh, yeah. Pride comes in all kinds of little ways. But they wanted to take God's glory because God didn't tell them to do this. God said, I want you to be fruitful and multiply because I have a purpose in telling you to do this so that he could replenish the earth. This is why he told Noah when he told him to put them in, was only 8. So if you took them 8 people and did what God told them to do and multiplied, it's going to be more and more and more and more people. But they didn't want to do it God's way. They wanted to do it their way. And God wasn't pleased with it either. It's just like with me. If I don't do it God's way, he don't like it. And they ignored God. Now, God gave orders, but they ignored God. When God tells us to do something, you know sometimes I'm guilty. Lord, is that you talking? You know it's God talking. You know it. Flesh. Flesh. You know, sometimes God can tell you some things you is against his flesh. But you know it's God talking. Oh, but you can't ignore. Don't ignore God. If he ever tell you to do something, take it from me, do it. Because when you don't listen to God, there's some consequences come behind it. And it ain't going to be no good consequences either. And it said we must never ignore God or his word. Don't ignore God or his word. We know when God is speaking. All you got to do is get in the word. You read the word. And you know, look, even me, I don't claim to be, I don't know everything, and I'm still in the process of learning. But when God tells me, most of the time it's against your flesh. Your flesh don't want to do it. You know how when God wake you up 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and tell you hit them knees, and it can be cold in your best sleep. Don't ignore God. You got to fight against your flesh, though. Say we must never ignore God or his word. And the way these people in Babel, they just did what they want to do. But then it said pride will destroy a relationship. Here come old man pride. First, they didn't listen to God. They ignored God. Then they made up their mind they're going to do it their way. And they, like I said, they only had one life.